Have you ever been drawn in by the glimmer of a game, knowing the odds are stacked against you, but you play anyway?
Oh, absolutely.
It's a universal impulse, isn't it? That small flicker of hope.
It really is. That tension between, logic and possibility seems to be deeply ingrained in us.
And today we're diving deep into a fascinating piece of history that perfectly captures that feeling.
Okay.
An extraordinary artifact. It's a 1930 French-made lottery game machine.
Ah, interesting.
Our mission for this deep dive is to unpack its clever mechanics, reveal the surprising secret behind its, notoriously low winning odds, and just marvel at its incredible journey of restoration.
Right.
All of this pulled directly from the detailed observations in the source material you shared with us.
Yeah, and this wasn't just some simple box. From what we've gathered, it was a real fixture in French bars and cafes. More than just a game, it was designed to catch the eye and quite effectively lighten the wallet of anyone who dared to play.
So let's talk about that allure and the secret of this machine. Because on the surface, it seems so straightforward.
It does.
You drop in a coin, a colored ball drops out, you redeem a prize based on its color. What could possibly be so complicated or, deceptive about that?
Well, that's truly the genius of its design, isn't it? Its apparent simplicity hides a very cunning trick.
Okay.
The immediate question it should raise for any player is, why did shopkeepers rarely let anyone walk away a winner? What was the secret hidden inside this, innocent-looking contraption?
All right, let's unpack that. What exactly is revealed the moment you get a look inside the machine? What's the first thing that strikes you?
Well, once opened, you immediately see the disproportionate distribution of the balls. It's definitely not a fair mix.
Right.
Most of them are red balls. The source says 365 to be exact, and if you get one, you win. A cup of coffee.
Cup of coffee, okay.
Then there are far fewer blue balls. Only 32 of those, which could be redeemed for something called a blue landy.
A blue landy. What exactly was that? Any idea?
Apparently, a blue landy was a common term for a small, non-cash prize in French cafes back then. Perhaps a cigarette, maybe a token for another drink, or a small snack.
Okay, so a small step up.
A small step, yeah, but still far from the jackpot. And speaking of jackpots, for the coveted $500 cash prize, well, there are extremely rare pink balls. Very few.
Wow, so the odds are literally staring you in the face once you see the contents. It's all right there.
Exactly.
But how does the machine ensure this skewed distribution plays out consistently? What are the inner workings? How does it guide those balls?
What's fascinating here is the internal blocking layer. It's inside the main rolling ball mechanism, and it's precisely designed to guide the selected colored ball along a specific track down to the bottom. There's also an intercepting device that holds both the colored balls and the coins people put in. When you pull this device, it releases them together into a collection box below. And if the machine needed to be reset, maybe after paying out, there's a switch mechanism. Pressing it moves the colored balls back onto the intercepting track, ready for the next play.
So despite what looks like a simple structure, it was clearly ingeniously designed to make people, as the source puts it, willingly part with their money.
Absolutely.
It really is a classic example of how you can never beat the backers behind the scenes.
It absolutely embodies that principle, the illusion of chance, meticulously engineered with the stark reality of a stacked deck right inside.
And that idea of hidden complexity perfectly leads us to the machine's incredible restoration journey.
Yeah.
Because when it was found, it was not the gleaming, artful piece we've been describing.
Not at all.
What was its state before restoration? What did they start with?
Oh, it was in quite a rough state, to say the least. The sources highlight significant wear and tear. Deeply corroded metal parts, plastic feet that were completely rotten, a missing observation lens, and even the original small drawer from the base was gone. It really needed a full overhaul.
That sounds like quite a challenge.
Oh.
Where do restorers even begin with something like that? Must be daunting.
Well, they began with extensive cleaning, as you'd expect. All the parts were first disassembled. Then they were put through a hydrochloric acid solution for about an hour to really tackle the rust.
Right, strong stuff.
Yeah, followed by a soda solution for neutralization, and finally a thorough wash. This initial chemical treatment was crucial for stripping away decades of grime and corrosion.
And the base, the foundation of the whole thing, that must have needed special attention too.
It certainly did. The base was meticulously sanded down to the bare material and then painted. First with a gray-white undercoat and then a final coat of a beautiful sky blue. Really brought back its original vibrancy.
But those rotten plastic feet sound like a real problem. You can't just buy those off the shelf. How do you replace something like that on a vintage machine?
No, you can't. And this is where modern ingenuity met antique restoration. The original plastic feet were just beyond repair, so they came up with a pretty innovative solution. Redesigning them entirely using 3D software and then printing them with a rubber-like material.
Ah, clever.
Yeah, to match the original feel and function as closely as possible.
That's a great blend of old and new tech.
Huh.
What about the other metal parts, like the main structural brackets? How were they handled?
For rust removal on those bigger parts, sandblasting was used to get a clean surface. But the truly intriguing detail, and maybe a hint at the luxury of this piece, is the lavish use of 24K gold plating wax.
24K gold wax.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes. This was meticulously applied to the two main support brackets and even a partially exposed spring slider. The source explicitly mentions the high cost at this 48,000 yuan for just a small bottle.
Wow. 48,000 yuan. It's a staggering amount for a small bottle of wax. What does that tell us? Was the machine originally that high-end, or is this restoration just exceptionally dedicated?
It really speaks volumes, doesn't it? It suggests either this machine was an incredibly high-status item back in the day, indicating its original owners spared no expense, or perhaps the restorers had an almost unparalleled commitment to authenticity and luxury, valuing its historical significance immensely and choosing to restore it to a condition maybe even more opulent than its original.
Interesting. And smaller metal parts, like the coin holder.
For those, a bluing solution was applied. It helps with corrosion resistance.
A bluing solution. What exactly is that? Is it actually blue?
It's a classic restoration technique. It chemically forms a protective oxide layer on the metal surface. It often looks dark blue-black, actually.
Huh?
It not only prevents rust, but also gives the part distinctive, attractive finish. Very common in restoring old mechanisms or firearms, for example.
Got it. And that missing observation lens you mentioned earlier, how on earth do you recreate something like that when it's just gone?
Well, they apparently had some original fragments they found.
Lucky break.
Yeah, so they had to piece those together, carefully trace their shapes onto a new acrylic sheet. Then they cut and polished the new lens to get that clean, perfectly transparent finish. It's a real act of historical recreation, piecing together clues.
Definitely sounds like it. And when parts like screws are missing, you can't just run to the hardware store for a 1930s French lottery machine screw, can you?
Absolutely not. No chance. This required manufacturing new screws completely from scratch using a machine tool.
Wow.
Yeah, involves shaping the screw, precisely cutting the threads, chamfering the edges for a smooth finish, and then milling the grooves in the heads to perfectly match the original style. Every little detail was custom made, shows real dedication.
It really does. A true labor of love. What about the golden rolling ball mechanism itself? That sounds central and complex to restore.
It was absolutely one of the most crucial steps. They actually had to cut the golden rolling ball in half to get inside, to access its internal structure.
Cut it in half. Seriously.
Seriously. Once opened, it went through that whole rigorous rust removal process again, acid, soda, sandblasting. Then the interior was blued for preservation.
Okay.
Only then could it be meticulously put back together, the seam carefully welded shut, polished smooth, and finally another layer of that expensive 24K gold plating wax applied to its exterior, restoring its original shine.
Incredible precision. And the colored balls themselves, the ones that determine the prize. I imagine those just needed a good clean.
Yes, relatively simple compared to the rest. The individual colored balls were cleaned pretty efficiently in an ultrasonic cleaner, just brought back their vibrant hues.
Right. And finally, that missing drawer. Seems like a small detail, but it's part of the whole aesthetic and function. How did they recreate that?
Oh, this was a beautiful piece of traditional craftsmanship, according to the source. They started by cutting blocks of wood, meticulously deburring them, and then creating a precise tenon and mortise structure to fit them together without fasteners. That classic woodworking joint.
Old school. Nice.
Exactly. These pieces were then glued, polished, stained, and finally oiled with tung oil for preservation and to give it that rich, natural luster. And, in a clever touch of recycling, they even reused an old cabinet handle after sandblasting and polishing it to a brilliant shine. Fit perfectly.
That's fantastic. So, after all that meticulous work, the acid baths, the 3D printing, the gold wax, the custom screws, the woodworking, what does this all mean for the machine? What's the final transformation like?
The transformation is truly remarkable. The source describes it as an incredible restoration effect. It turned what was once a decaying, almost unrecognizable antique into an exquisite toy.
An exquisite toy, I like that.
Yeah, it's fully functional again, gleaming, and truly ready to entice players all over again with its beautiful, albeit rigged design.
So we've seen this 1930s French lottery machine go from this forgotten rusted relic to a gleaming, functional piece of art.
Quite the journey.
And it's thanks to this meticulous restoration that revealed not just its beauty, but also its hidden tricks and stunning details. This machine was designed to be irresistible in a bar setting, wasn't it? Offering that fleeting hope of a big win.
While ensuring the house always prevailed, the ingenuity of its design, combined with its opulent restoration, really tells a story beyond just mechanics.
So here's a final thought for your listening. What does its enduring appeal and the cleverness of its design tell you about our own modern fascination with games of chance? Or maybe even the allure of things that just seem a little too good to be true?
Yeah, something to consider.
Definitely something to consider until our next deep dive.